Welcome to Ultimate DIY, where you learn to be your own handyman. Today we're going to learn how to install a compression type shutoff valve for your water supply. So if you're trying to install a shutoff for your water supply, there's several different types of valves you can buy. You can buy the ones that are already made for PEX, PEX A, PEX B. You can do sweat-on valves. You can do male-female. This will actually convert to a male-female, this being the male. The female would be another fitting you would solder on, or you would have a brass or steel pipe nipple coming out that you would screw this onto. So there's a lot of different ways. But for a handyman that doesn't have a lot of tools yet, or for a DIYer, a compression fitting is very simple to put on as long as you understand how it works, and you don't have to have as many tools. You don't have to have a big heat source and solder on fittings if you're not real comfortable with doing that. So I'm going to give you an idea of how this works out here, and then we're going to actually install it. I'm going to show you how. So underneath here we have copper stub outs coming out. So I'm going to show you this just to give you an idea. So the stub out is actually finished off on the end and closed in so that you can continue working and it'll hold water pressure so the rest of the house isn't shut down. So you're going to use either a traditional type cutter like this one if you have enough room, or my favorite are like these Milwaukees. This one's a 1/2 inch, 3/4, 1 inch. They fit on the pipe and they turn until they cut, which is really nice if you're in a confined space. I'll probably try to show you both methods if possible under here, if I can get the larger one on there. So before we get under there though, I've taken this pipe and I want to show you a couple of things. One of the things when it's cut is look and make sure you do not have any little indents or serious abrasions. If you do, cut it off again and make sure that it's nice and clear. Use either a tool like this if you have enough room, which works really well, and you'll have to get it on there. You'll spin and get it clean. If you don't have a lot of room, you can actually use the smaller version. Does the same thing, and even more so if you don't have room, you can use the emery type cloth and clean it. Just make sure it's clean. Now, what I do here is I'll open it out of the box. I take this off first because I'm not going to use the compression on the water outlet side. I'm going to use a special hose, one of these. And if you look at these hoses, they already have a compression gasket inside. You do not have to use any tape or anything on these fittings because this works like your water hose outside, and you're just going to tighten it down. Pretty simple on that side. This side, you're going to open it up, and you're going to have a sleeve inside of here. This sleeve is very important. You'll take your pipe, and by the way, if you have a sticker like this one, you can use a heating source like a torch or whatever. Heat that up and use your flux that you would normally flux with, and it'll clean all that glue off of there. So this side is already clean. What I'm going to do first is you would take the nut and put the nut on first, with the threads facing towards your shutoff valve. And you take the little sleeve and you're going to put it on. Now, one thing I do that a lot of guys don't is I will take a little bit of the plumber's thread. You don't really need this, and it's not so much for sealing, but I'll dab a little around it, mainly so that the metal pieces can move around a little easier as you're tightening it. Then I will take my stop, put it on, make sure it's all the way pushed down tight, and you push everything up and you tighten. Just like that. Now what I'll do is I'll tighten until it gets a little snug, and then you go a 1/4 turn more. That's all you have to do. So just get a little snug, 1/4 turn more, and it's ready. So then that is actually on. I didn't have to use a heat source or anything. You can go back out, turn your water on, and check your pressure. Make sure that you don't have any drips. So now, that being said, we're going to go ahead and go underneath I've already got the water shut off. So when you do shut off your water, what you're going to do is you're going to shut off the water at the main and go open up the lowest valves that you have in the house. Usually those are the spigots outside. If it's downstairs, you'll open up some stuff downstairs, flush toilets, whatever you need to do to make sure that the water pressure is relieved, because when you cut this, you're going to send water everywhere. So we're going to now go underneath and cut the stub out, and I'm going to show you how this installs real quick. The other thing that you will need, by the way, is you're going to need a couple of wrenches. One that you will put on the valve to hold here, and one that you're going to put on the nut. So let's go ahead and let's move underneath the sink, and let's see how that works. All right, guys, we are going to start with the hot water first. Always have yourself a little bucket in case you have a little runoff. Now, I can cut this back close, but I don't like doing that in case I have some kind of problem. So I'm probably going to leave these a tad long. Now you just put these on, and it has an arrow telling you which way to turn. So you don't have to go from an end. You can slide it on. And let's leave it out of here to give ourselves a lot of space. And you'll hear it click. Now you turn. Now I keep a hand on this pipe because we don't know how they were fully attached on the inside. And you just twist. Keep your bucket near. You will have some water. Even though water is shut off, that's normal. Here it comes. Just like that, and you catch it. Now, one thing about compression fittings that is nice, by the way, is it does not have to be dry to be able to apply it. So what you'll do now is you'll take your cleaner, and you'll clean it. And again, hold this and clean it. There we go. And make sure you don't have any burrs, which we don't. Looks really good. Place the end on. Get it up in there. Now take your sleeve. Put the sleeve on. Just like that. Now I go ahead and I rub a little bit of the plumber's dope on here. Now remember, this is not something you have to do. I just do it mainly. Gives a little bit of an extra precaution, but the main reason is that it allows the metal pieces to slide together a little easier. So now we have that. I want my valve. That's on, that's off. I want the valve to point down, and I slide everything together and start twisting. Now, you can use 2 open ends, you can use 2 crescent wrenches. I've got one of each to kind of show you both ways. So what I do is I will hold this in place. Let's see here. Go ahead and turn my valve off so I can get to it a little better. And then use my crescent wrench, or adjustable open end if you want to call it that. That's the technical name. And we get it snug. It's probably a little easier for me. Now what we're going to do is we want to get it snug, and then we go about a quarter turn more. If you go too much, you can break the pipe or bend the pipe, and you'll actually cause it to leak. About right there is good. And now make sure your valve's off, which it is. Turn sideways. That's one mistake I've seen guys make. They'll put those on there, and then it will they'll have it down, turn on the water, and they'll be shooting water everywhere before they realize it. So let's go ahead and go to the second one. Alright, so moving on to the second one. Keep in mind of your arrow. Take it, push it on until you hear it click. Just like that, and now you turn. Keep the bucket underneath. May not have as much water in this one this time because we have already drained a lot from the other side. There it is. Yeah, not near as much. Most water came out the other one. Okay, so then we have that off. Now, I'll take and clean it again. Alright. That one, we ended up grooved a little bit on that one. I think it was because I was moving it. So I'm going to recut that one, and I'm going to go ahead and use the other cutter so that you can see how that works. So your regular traditional cutter, what you do is it's going to ride, the pipe is going to ride in this area right here, and the cutter has to go here. So we're going to come back here, you tighten till you feel it snug, don't over tighten, and you start turning. And as you turn, you'll tighten a little more. And you will feel it starting to loosen as it's cutting through. Now the problem with these type, compared to the other, if you over tighten before you cut, you will indent your pipe and sometimes make it hard to solder if you're soldering. Okay. There we go. Much better. And now let's clean that up. Very good. All right. So let's open up the next box. And I'm going to open it, take it out of the box, and now we are going to put our screw-on part on. There's our sleeve. We're going to put it on just like that. Okay. Don't need it up very close here because you're going to push inside of this, and it's going to push that up to it. So now that we have that kind of set, let's get under here with the tools. We hold it put up tight and start screwing it on. Just like that. And let's see if we can. Should have brought just a little bit shorter wrench, would have been a little nicer. Alrighty, that about there. And get it where it's snug, and then you're going to tighten it just a little more once you're there. Make sure that we got that quarter turn. Alrighty. There we go. Now you can pull on these to make sure you've got a good fit too. And now what we're going to do is go turn on some water. Alright, testing. Very good. Alright. Okay, and now with your water lines connected, the only other thing you have to do is connect your hose itself. Like I said, these hoses have compression rings. You can see them here. They're going to go in to righty tighty, lefty loosey, and they're going to seal themselves, just like a hose outside. Okay, guys, it's in, complete, no leaks. Quick pro tip is make sure that you check these lines real good when you bring them out. I grabbed 2 of them out of the same bin. This one is a 1/2 inch to 1/2 inch. This one is a 3/8 to 1/2 inch. So now I have to go back and switch this out for this other side. But it's not that difficult. As you can see, they go on really quick. It's great for a DIYer because you do not have to do any soldering. You don't even have to have any special crimping tools for like PEX or anything like that. They work really well. So hope you learned something. We'll see you on the next one.